Good evening and welcome to day 14 of 18 of our class. And today's class, we are going to continue Advanced Excel Part 1. Yesterday, we are able to see how we can utilize Advanced Excel Part 1 in the aspect of advanced sorting and filtering for our data sets. Today, we are going to look into how we can perform row-level securities to our workbook, worksheets, and our cells. And these row-level securities includes protecting our sheets, protecting the workbook we're working on. You can also see and find out how we can look at for statistics of that workbook, just like saying accessibilities and the rest of them. So to begin, let us see how we can apply security to our workbook first. Now, this our workbook is what we are working with, and the name of the workbook title is Practice Customer Order Data. Practice Customer Order Data. That's the name of our workbook, right? And we want to apply row-level securities to this workbook. Now, what's row-level security? One might ask. Well, security is a process that ensures your data sets or workbook or worksheet is protected from being tampered with. Remember, we talked about data integrity and data quality. And one of the things we mentioned about data integrity is that it will not change its form or nature while it is moving from one storage to another. And one of the things that can help that make that happen is applying row-level security. Now, how can we do that as data analysts? In your different devices as data analysts, you always make sure that you lock your most important applications and put passwords to your applications. The same thing goes to your laptop too. You always make sure that you lock it up so that those who are not meant to use it will not have access to it. Same thing happens to Excel worksheets and Excel workbook. So we apply security in order to give some persons ability to work with it and others ability not to work with it. Now, to protect our workbook, we go to the Review tab or Review menu. On the ribbons there, you see a lot of applications, a lot of buttons, that will help us to apply this in our data sets. You see that we have the proofing straight to the protect. So we're going to focus on the protect, and later on we are going to come to the proofing. So to protect a worksheet, you are seeing the button here on the ribbon that says protect sheet and protect workbook, and there you see allow editing ranges, meaning you can set password protection on the kind of range and also specify people who can actually work on those range. All right. So this is very much important, but this setup is done once the protect sheet is active. Okay, so when a protect sheet is active, you can allow editing ranges, just like if you are confident with working with Google Sheets and someone wants to have access to a particular sheet that you are not supposed to give him access to, you restrict him from that. In Google Sheet, it's obvious to see the share button. So let me just quickly open a Google Sheet or a Google Drive for us to understand what we are talking about. So let's quickly open a Google Sheet of Google Drive. Let's see what we're talking about. So aside some questions, let's see what we have. So now let's say we want to open a particular Google Sheet and we want to make it in a way whereby you cannot access it to edit it. For instance, this week 1/_2 assessment, that's week 1 with 2 assessment now. So let's see how it works out for editing rights. Okay. For us to apply row level security to it, you must go to this button that says share. All right, share is a button to go to. So you click on that share, it will allow you to determine who is able to see the particular worksheet or workbook. And it also allows you to determine who is responsible to edit, to view, or to comment. So I'm having a kind of network issue. Yeah, it's saying that editing is temporarily unavailable. Please check your network connection. So let's us try again and see what we have here. So I believe we got the gist of what I'm trying to do, right? Yes. So this share is the place you apply some securities, your worksheets, and also to your data sets when it comes to working with Excel. The same thing is applicable to when you want to uh, protect your Google Drive. So at a point when you have a Google Drive and someone gives you a right to edit, you notice that you have a full control over the data, just like the drive we shared with you on where to upload your assignments. And I must commend Francis for being so much dedicated to this course. He has done his first week assignment, he has done his second assignment. So it's a very wonderful thing to emulate, and he's very good at what he is learning. I so much appreciate you, Francis. Well done. So the right we gave to you in the Google Drive for you to create a folder and upload an assignment is the editing rights. You are not the owner, but you are an editor, which means that you are allowed to alterate anything that happens in that particular drive. So someone can wake up tomorrow and say that he will delete everybody's work there. But please don't do that though. I'm just saying. So that is your right, right? But when I say, okay, at the end of this particular course, you are done with your project and everything, and we've rated you, and then we want to go back to where we stopped, which is locking up all those. I'll still go back to the share button just over here, and then I will determine who has the right to edit and who has the right to view. So you see here now, we have the owner, which is myself. Then we have an access that says anyone with link can view. So this is a row level security in that regard. So you edit who can see or who cannot see. You also edit who is able to edit and not able to edit. But unlike Google, Excel worksheet requires you to know your password. So don't use a password you can easily forget, because when you forget a password when you're trying to protect your sheet, Excel can never remind you of that. So we suggest everyone to know their password. Use easy to go password that you can easily use to unlock any sheet or unlock any workbook. So let's go to protect sheets now. Under the view tab, and then under the ribbon control protect, you have protect sheets. Now it says passwords to unprotect the sheets. Now protect sheet and contents of locked cells. You see it? So if there are any locked cells, so let me just go back to this allow users editing range and then delete this guy, then apply, and then okay. So in the protect sheet now, if there's any locked cells like the one I just removed now, it will also protect the content of that locked cell. Now, what am I allowing users to do? Just like Google, we ask you, who do you want to visit, viewer, editor, or commenter? So here I'm allowing users to select locked cells and select unlocked cells. I'm not allowing users to format the cells, format columns, format rows, insert columns, insert rows. You insert hyperlinks, delete columns, delete rows, down to edit scenario. I'm not allowing users to do that. I'm only allowing users to do these two. If I say, okay, I don't want users to do anything at all, I'll uncheck the both of them, right? But to be mild in our set protection, we only choose select locked cells and select unlocked cells. So these two go And then we put a password that we can remember, right? So we say that passwords must be digits. You must do what? Remember. So how do you do that? I can want to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me go there again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'll click OK. Then Excel will ask me to re-enter the password to confirm, because any sheet protected can never be recovered. It says sheet protection helps prevent accidental edits. That's correct. But then any sheet protected cannot be recovered if I forget my password. So there's no forget password feature in Excel the way it is in some other softwares or applications. So let me enter the password now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'll click OK. Now this sheet is protected, right? So nobody can. Are you seeing that over here in the tabs now? They are all unavailable. Are you seeing now? So nobody can do anything here because nothing is happening. Only thing I can do is the right I gave the person, which is the formatting, which is only to maybe unprotect the sheets, right? And editing, which is just to fill up and right, down and left, find and select. That's the only thing we can only do here because this sheet is protected. If I go to the insert tab, I cannot do anything here apart from I can't even insert picture. I can't even insert text. Neither can I insert symbols. So this has protected my sheet from anybody who might want to tamper with it, right? So it gives any user the opportunity to only look at the thing I have in the data set I have in my worksheet, right? So if I want to edit now, I cannot edit. It says the cell or chart you are trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make a change on protected sheet, you might be requested to enter a password. So if I click OK, and that's it. So I cannot do anything on this sheet, but I can do something on this other sheet. I can tamper with this sheet, right? I can tamper with this second sheet, but I can't tamper with the first sheet because it's on what? Protection. And if I want to unprotect it, what do I do? Some persons might just go to the editing, sorry, on the format for the home tab, and you see unprotect the sheet, right? Here. So here you unprotect it and make it editable for everybody. Or you can come to the sheet title here, right click, and you see unprotect sheets, right? So this is always a go-to for a lot of persons. This unprotect sheet. So you click on it, you can enter the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then click OK. The sheet is now back to what? Normal view, which now everything is now active for you to utilize. So you see, this is the first thing first, the first how on how you can apply row level security to your Microsoft worksheet, Microsoft Excel worksheet. So the next is protecting of workbook. So we can protect this entire workbook and nobody can tamper with it, even though the person has downloaded a workbook, but then he needs to put a password in order to access what is in the workbook. Now, to do that, we go to protect workbook. Then we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 once again. It says protect workbook for what? Structure. Remember, this is just what we discussed in data integrity and quality. So data set must maintain its structure, maintain its consistency, and always a validity, no matter where it is being opened and where it is used at. So it must be maintained in order to become a data that has integrity. So we are protecting the structure. That structure is what we are protecting as part of what is needed to use in the process of advanced Excel. So you might don't want anybody to tamper with your workbook, and you do this and click OK. So as usual, you must re-enter your password to confirm. It says if you lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. So it's advisable to keep a list of passwords and their corresponding workbook and sheet names in a safe place. Remember that passwords are case sensitive. So I entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 once again. Click OK. So now this sheet, this entire workbook is protected, right? It is purely protected. Nobody can tamper with it. Even say as I've seen it now, it's looking as if something can happen. But let's see what happens now. Oh, wow. Workbook is protected. Okay. What I protected was a workbook, not worksheet. So it's all good. So I can still tamper with the values here, but then let us try to close our workbook. So let me open a blank. Let me close this guy. Let me save first. Close this guy. And possibly let me go back to opening it again and see what happens. It is also open. So the workbook we applied. Oh, wow. The workbook protection we applied only goes for the structure, right? It only goes for the structure. Now, what does that mean? Let's say we want to add a new sheet. It will not work again. I've seen it. It can never work. We can still have the same sheets we had before. We can still do the editing we want to edit in any of the sheets, right? But we cannot undo the structure. For instance, I want to add I can add a table here because this is applicable, right? This guy is applicable. So what I cannot do here now is in the structure, I cannot insert a new sheet or change anything. Now look at what it says. In protection of workbook, it helps to keep others from making structural changes to your workbook, such as moving, deleting, or adding sheets. Are you seeing it? Moving, deleting, or adding sheets. So sometimes you have a particular workbook and you are stuck at only 3 sheets. You are stuck at only 3 sheets. I can still do anything I want to do on the sheets. Remember, we are not protecting the sheets, only the workbook. So the workbook protection only protects the structure of that workbook. So I can still do anything I want to do on the sheets. I can still do whatever I wish to do on the sheets. But the workbook, I cannot add extra sheets for the workbook. Neither can I remove an existing sheet from the as you see now. If I right click on the sheet now, I can only do view code, protect sheets, select all sheets. So that's the only thing I can only do here. I cannot delete the sheets or hide and unhide the sheets. But I can still tamper with the data in each of the cells in this worksheet because obviously that is what is supposed to be, right? So in the situation where I enter protect sheet and I also put the same password, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and click OK. And then we enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is now where I have applied a 2-level layer of protection. So nobody can tamper with what I have, and nobody can actually do anything from what is supposed to be. Are you seeing it now? So 2-level layer of security happens with the protect sheet and protect workbook. Where nobody can tamper with your worksheet or your workbook. Why is a single level protection is only on either a worksheet or a workbook. And one thing I so much love about Excel is that I don't even need to really protect a workbook, right? All I need to protect for myself is always the worksheet, because look at the menu, the tabs here on protect and protect. Now, if someone that does not know that I protected these sheets comes, he will not notice anything. There is no easy way for him to notice that this sheet is on protection. But it is easy for him to know that this workbook is on protection, because notice that the protect workbook has one wonderful view, rectangular, conical that is surrounding it, unlike this guy that is like this, right? So, but if someone that actually understands Excel, advanced Excel, you will see that that on protect means that, oh, this sheet is already on protection, so let me remove it from protection. That is if the person actually understands this area of data analytics. So you see, you can apply row level securities to your data sets And you can always make it possible for someone to either comment or not comment, edit or not edit. As you can see here, you see there is a possibility for you to enter a new comment, delete a comment, add or remove a comment. You can still check for the workbook statistics. So far you have the data set in this particular workbook, and you want to check the statistics of that workbook, what it contains. Now, statistics always figures, right? So when you click on workbook statistics, to tell you what is happening in that particular workbook. So first of all is the current sheet. It tells that the sheet ended in column U. So let's see if it's true. So it says the sheet ended in column U. Is it U? Let's check again, please. Yes, it's the end of sheet is U58. Okay, I believe it's the truth. Yes, U58, that is it. I've seen a U58, so it cannot lie. And then cells with data is 492 cells that has data. There is no single table, but there is 214 formulas. So you see, we have applied 214 formulas only in this worksheet. Then for the entire workbook, we have about 3 sheets, which is absolutely correct. Then we have 927 cells with data, and we have 324 of them with formulas. So you see, it's an amazing thing to notice this particular proofing in Excel, as it helps you to know the statistics of your workbook and thereabouts. Then I will allow you to check out the accessibility features in Excel that helps you to notice some accessibility options in your data set. What is there that it needed for you to assess how easy it is for anyone to access it, and how quick they can actually understand what happens in your project workbook. So you see, Excel has wonderful features that helps you, the analyst, to keep your data safe and secured no matter what. So let me quickly unprotect the workbook first. So I've entered the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the workbook is out of protection. So I can add a sheet now and still carry the sheets to anywhere I wish to carry it. That's me altering the structure. And I can still unprotect the sheets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you see the sheet is now easy for me to walk around with. I can just maneuver things and I'm good to go. But you can see allow editing range. So whenever you protect a sheet and you come to the allow editing range, you now set up password for the particular area of your data workbook you want the users to operate on only, right? So let's say you have, let's come for instance now, this same customer order data, and we said, okay, we want to allow editing range for some range of cells. So let's add into new. So it says ranges unlocked by a password when sheet is protected. So let's click on new. And what's the name of the row? Maybe you say row header. Then the reference of cell, we are looking at referencing cell A to cell L, right? Then the password will still remain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now remember that you cannot do forget password. Then what are the permissions you want to give? Now, if there is someone in this particular Excel workbook with me, I can either add the person or remove the person, right? So edit range without a password, we are denying that. That's if we have someone added. So let's say we want to add somebody now, maybe enter the object names to select. So who are we adding here? What's the location? What are the object names to select? So these are things that applies to any editing range. So once that is done, you click on OK. So all these are securities you apply to your workbook as a data analyst to make sure it is very much secured and nobody tampers with it. Another security we apply in our workbook is regards to what is called data validation. Here we apply restrictions. Now, it's no longer only about security, it's also about restrictions. So let's try to perform data validation. So I'm going to take employee record now. I'm going to just take the first 10 employees, copy their details, come over here and paste them. right? So you want to make sure that no particular value is missing or no particular value is above the necessary values of choice. For instance, now we notice that the salary here is between the ranges of 47,000 to 105,000. So we want to restrict these particular cells involved to a point whereby no value less than 47,000 or less than 105,000 can come in this salary cell. An instance you want to note about this is when you want to close your Excel or any software you're working with, you'll be asked questions like, are you sure you want to close this book? Save, don't save, cancel, right? That's a restriction. It's a kind of restriction, kind of warning that tells you this is what you're expected to know about this. And look at what happens when that occurs. So the restrictions help you to avoid any unnecessary values being in the cells of choice. Someone can just come in the zip code now, write anyhow zip code that is not on the country of choice. So you wouldn't want that to happen. As a data analyst, you want to restrict some entries in a particular cell of choice. So now let us do the same here. I'm going to just copy out this employee's name. I'm going to paste as values, and I'm going to clear this particular cell of its contents. So clear the contents. Then I'm going to remove the salary the same way I did for the employee name. So I'm going to still clear the contents in that salary. So I'm going to just use these two columns to explain what we have. So here we must enter employee names such as this. So there are two ways to do conditional formatting. Is either you do direct referencing or you enter the data yourself. So to do the data validation, you go to data tab and you see this tool that is under the remove duplicates. That's data validation. It tells you to apply rules and regulations to your data set. So I'm going to just highlight from the particular cell of choice to the part that we really want to apply such rules and regulation or restrictions as the case may be. So we click on this data validation and click on data validation. So here is the data validation box, and you're asked to add the settings, choose an input message, what is the error alert. So what is the validation criteria? That is the first thing to note on the settings. Now, by default, it is in any value. So we want to restrict it to the ones we want, right? So we come over here and click on the drop down, and we have options to choose from. Allow whole number, or allow decimal numbers, or allow lists, allow dates, allow time, text length, or custom. So the most go-to we normally choose for data validation is basically whole number, decimals, and lists. So we rarely use the date, time, text function, and custom, right? Because most times we already have what we want obeyed. So we don't want to actually have to go through the process of using the date, time, text length, and custom. But if you're working on a code and requires you to do data validation with all the other allow values in it, no problem. So let's focus on whole number and lists. All right, whole number and list. So you can explore decimal, date, time, and the rest of them. So let's start with whole number first. So what is the whole number? Okay, this place is not whole number. Sorry, the employee name is a list. Sorry. So it's a list, right? So once you choose a particular option to allow, you're now being at source. Now this source means you can enter the data yourself manually, or you can reference some group of cells. So I'm just going to reference first. and it has referenced obviously columns K3 to K11, which is what we have over here. The next is the input message. So this input message is what we show when the cell is selected, right? So the title might be insert name, right? So the message that comes with may be choose from the list. Okay. Then the next is an error alert that is always there to warn people in case they do something invalid. All right. So this error alert must come when an invalid data is entered. And we have about 3 styles for the error alert. We have the stop, we have the warning, we have the information. Do not use warning and information because people or your fellow analysts who wants to override your data can easily override it when you use the last two. But when you use stop, they cannot override your data. All right. So we don't want someone to overwrite our data when the person has his or her hand on that particular data. They want the data to remain as it's supposed to be in the aspect of it being just what it's supposed to be. And there we maintain our integrity in our data sets. So we are using the stop style, not the warning or information. If you use the warning information, the person can still alter your data input, but the stop do not allow that. So stop, the title will be error. For instance, the error message will be you have entered a wrong employee name, right? So once we are done, we cross-check our instructions again. The first thing first that we said in the settings, we allow lists, and the source comes from this column K. Then input message is insert the name and choose from the list. Then the error alert is stop. There is an error. Hence, you have entered a wrong employee name. Like we said, do not use warning or information because the individual that is working on your data can still tamper with it if you use any of these two. But the stop style is the best to avoid alteration of your data. So after that, you click on OK. Now, see what happens here now. Because we have selected this list of cells, it has given us an input message that says insert name, choose from the list. So I can come here, I'll see the option that will come again, right? All of them will show in every of the cells. But once I leave this cell and click on the cell after it, nothing happens. There's no validation in any of the cells, right? So here I'll ask to choose from the list. So I'll go to the list, click on this arrow down, and here are the lists. So let's just follow the list as it is originally. We click on add enough, come to the next cell, click on hide seed, come to the next cell, click on Sarah, next cell, click on Carol, next cell, click on Linda, next cell, click on Kobe, next cell, click on Sam, next cell, click on Linda again. Okay, that was Anderson Linda, it's a batch Linda. So the next cell is this guy, yes. So you see how we use a list to make sure that the data that is being entered in every cell of choice is what we all need, right? Very wonderful. Now, this is a list. Now, because we referenced it from a particular range of value, look at what happens. If I delete these names from here and come back to these particular validated cells, click on the drop down, you see that there's nothing there again. Is as good as nothing. Nothing is there again because of what I have removed or deleted the reference range. All right. So most times we prefer typing in the options we are looking for inside the validation lists options so that we don't encounter a situation whereby we try to delete an existing range of cell and we forgot that it was a reference cell for the validation. That will cause an issue, right? Because nobody can still come down here to see what happens. But look at what happens when you just make use of lists. The use of the list in this aspect now, we are trying to say, okay, let us use the feature of normal entry. So now I'm going to go back to validation again, and I'm going to go to data validation. Now this time around, I have to remove all that I have done here. So I'm going to just click on clear all. So now there is no existing validation in this data. But if there is, let's also find out again. So let's circle invalid data. Nothing to circle here. There's validation here. So let's go to remove the validation we have already made for this. You need to click on any of the cells, but let's highlight all there is because they're important. Then go to data validation, then click on data validation, and we see the validation that is here. So here now I can actually do the thing I want to do. So what I want to do, I can enter this data from here, and I start typing the names of the employees, Mdth, Wilson, okay, height, CD, Kati, Kayam. So these names are quite not my type of names, but I'll try. Sarah. Okay, so notice that when we click on any comma, Excel, we have to assume we are done with it. So let's remove all the commas that we have before. So let me just start afresh at the North Wilson K. So the comma means that we are done with that. So we want to remove all dots. So I CD Kati Kayam. Then Akin Uli Sarah Anderson Carol Anderson, okay, Anderson Carol, comma, Anderson Linda, comma, Andriola Kobe, comma, Atwasam, comma, Bachiochi Linda, comma, and Bazensky, right? Bazensky Rachel. So let's do this. Fine. So here I am not using direct referencing from here or any referencing from here. I'm just entering the source myself. The same input message determines it. So I'm just going to click on OK. So now if in case I delete these values here and still come back to my list, I'll still see them, right? So that's the good thing about having to enter the source yourself than referencing it from a particular cell, right? So that's how you use a list in data validation to create restrictions for our data set. Now, let's see how you can also use a whole number or decimal, as the case may be, just as the way we have it over here. And then to start, how to use data validation in a particular cell or column, you need to highlight the range of that particular data set and then click on the data pane, data tab or menu. Then over to the data tools control ribbon, we will see data validation. So we click on data validation and let's set our rules. This time around, we are looking at values that are whole number, not any value. Now, before we chose lists, so now I'm going to choose whole number. And the data is going to be between, right? So you see the options that we saw when we are doing advanced filtering and sorting. Yes, those options also are applicable when we are dealing with using some validation criteria. So here we are saying that it's going to be between what? The list we have here is 47,837. So it's going to be between 46,000 as the minimum and the maximum is 105,000. And notice I'm not putting any comma in any of these figures because we don't want to have it doesn't work that way. So Excel understands figures as normal figures. So if you put a parenthesis to cover it, it still doesn't understand that way. Therefore, you must make sure that it is normally written as it is on this. So you're looking for numbers, whole numbers between 46,000 and 105,000. The input message will be insert whole number, whole numbers. I'll say the numbers should be between 46K and 105K, right? So error alert, we work with what? Stop. Remember we said that stop is the most important and go-to error alert style, so that nobody can tamper with our data. Nobody can alter it, right? So title will be stop, for instance. So for instance, right? Stop. Error message will be you entered data that is above the requirements. So let's also cross-check our rules again. So the setting is we are allowing a whole number between 46,000 and 105,000. Then the input message is insert whole numbers. So let's put it only, so that it will be very clear that we are looking for just whole numbers only. And the number should be between 46K and 105K. Then error alert is stop style. You enter data that's above the requirements. So having done that, you click on OK. So see what happens here now. Insert whole numbers only. The number should be between 46K and 105K. So if I enter a number like, let's say I enter a number like 43K, this is what happens. It says you enter the data that's above the requirements. Stop. Are you seeing now? That's the feature. If you try to retry, it will still allow you to retry. So let's say put 50K now. And you see, it has worked perfectly well. Let's say do something like 107,000 to still give you error alert, right? Now, that's why I so much love the stop style of the error alert. It's do not allow you to alterate anything here. You must do according to the rules given. That's why it's called data validation. That rule is that rule. Now, that way we can also protect our what? Workbook, right? And that we can protect our workbook. So it is just obvious that we need to understand all of these things. They play a role. And now let's say that I just copy out this guy and then use this guy here and paste him here. Do you think anything bad will happen? Let's see. Okay, nothing bad happens. Nothing bad happens. So let's just go back again. Something is there. So you see that nothing bad happened because all these data are just still within the range. So it says between 62, 546, and next is 104, 437, and next is 64955, the next is 5825, the next is 95,660. So let's say we mistakenly put 40, let's say we just put 46, let's see what happens here, 46,000, fine. And let's say we come and say, okay, let's put something like 32,000. It's not agree for that to happen. So you must try to measure that you put number that between the range. That's why that instruction, this input message is always there for you. Don't need to worry so much about it. All you need to do is to understand that this 2T plays a long role in helping you to achieve your aim. So that is for us to insert numbers that between 40K to and 105K. So 95,60 was the last, then 59, 365, 47, 837, and then 54, 617. Okay, I think we missed some things here. Let me just copy from this guy. And just copy the values and place of values here. Fine. So you see, even if I delete this man here, nothing still affects the column. So this is how you can also protect your entries. You see now we can protect our worksheets, how we can protect our workbook. Now you've also seen how we can actually protect our cells. Okay, each cell is being protected for columns A and column F, employee name and salary. So they are all protected with 2 tips to help anyone who wants to know what really happened. Now, the last of the part of advanced Excel part 1 we are going to look into is under the test to column. Test to column. Now, test to column is an opposite of concatenate. What it does is to split data into different columns. It's either split by delimiter or split by fixed width. Now, let's come back to employee record now. I want to split the employee name and employee position. If you was split the employee name into 2, that means you have to create a column that is just going to be beside the employee name, same as creating a column that's going to be beside the position. So for the employee name now, for me to use test to column, I'll have to create a column that is going to be beside the employee name. So this column will be empty for these names to fall into this place, right? So what it means that I'll have to remove Wilson K to come here as other names, then adding off in our surname. We all notice that here in this particular sheet, right? So we want to also apply that in the employee record. So let's say we are going to insert 2 particular columns, and this one will be for the surname. Here will be the name, right? Since here is the full employee name. So let's see how we can do that. First thing first, after creating these little 2 columns, we go to the data tab, and then the data tools control ribbon, click test to column. So let me highlight all these ones first. Once I'm done creating the 2 columns, I need to highlight the cells or the column of choice before I go to test to column. Fine. So when I get there, I will have the test to column wizard open for me. It's called test to column wizard. We have 2 options of original data type. We have delimited and we have fixed width. Now, delimited means that there are characters that separate each field, characters that separate one particular value from the other. And from what we know as characters, a comma is a character, a space bar is a character, semicolon is a character, asterisk is a character. All those things can separate a particular value from the other. Therefore, fixed width is when you want to align the data cells or values in columns so that they will have spaces in each field. I want to see how the 2 of them play a role. So for practice, we're going to be using the employee name. So we go to the employee name once again. Okay, it's there already. So we are choosing what delimited. And this is a preview of my data. It's a preview of my data, which I have what selected. So I click on next. What is the delimiter that separates the value from the other? Is it a tab? Is it a semicolon? Is it a comma, a space, or any other ones? So we are saying that it is what? A comma. So you choose a comma, right? Notice what happened here. So you have comma here. Notice what's happened in this preview. Now just watch what happened in this preview when I click on comma. So I'm going to click on comma now. See what happens there, right? The comma is no longer there again. It has separated from the values that it was before. So I'm going to uncheck the tab because the tab is not what separates the values from each other. It's a comma. So after that, I click on next. Then we are going to choose a data type. Is it a general, a text, or a date? So we might just skip it, right? And leave it at what? General. We can just leave it at general because obviously we didn't tamper with this in the first place. So after leaving it at general, which is the general chosen choice of data format for each of the fields, we now have to go to destination. So where do you want the solution, the results to fall in? The result we want to fall in is in column B and C. So when I click inside here, I'm going to delete this existing one, and I'm going to click on this arrow here, and then I'll highlight column B and C as where I want it to be, and then come back here again. So this is where I want the results of whatever Excel has done in this particular column name will be happening here as first name and last name, or as last name and first name. So having achieved this part of the job, you need to click on finish. So you see what happens here. It has split the name Adenof Wilson K to Adenof and Wilson K. So you can call here the last name, and then call here the name, because you can't call it first name, right? You can call it just name, because we have other short name abbreviation like K, A, and M. So you see how we have used the text to column to split this particular employee name into two names. The first thing we did was to create these two columns first, and after that we selected the entire column range of A, that's from A2 to A23. And after that we went to the data text to column button, and then we chose the limiter, then click on next, choose the character that separated the value, and that's a comma. Then after choosing it, you click on next. Then we choose for destination. Where do you want it to fall in? And we said that we want it to fall in column BC. So what we did was to highlight the entire column BC and then click on finish. So when you do all these things, it helps you to understand how to flow. So you can have data set that will come to your desk, and it contains the full name of individual. Then you are being asked to split those names into two to become first name and last name. Hence, you go to your text to column. Now, how about delimiter? Maybe what's actually separated the two words or the two values are delimiters. Are not delimiters now, but a particular width is what you are struggling with. How do you deal with that? To do with that, you can still come back to the zip or the state. Because what you can do here in position is delimiter, because delimiter that separated production from technician and from one is a space. So that's a delimiter. But let's practice with fixed width. So let's say we come to the zip now. Say we want to get just the two values separately on their own column. So I have to first of all create a different column beside column G, right? And then I want to separate the first two zip codes to the next one. So what I want to do is I want to take 60 from 1960 to the column H, and take 48 from 2148 to column H, so on and so forth. So to achieve that, I need to first of all create the column and then highlight the range of cells I want to split, come to data tab, locate the data tools control ribbon, and click on text to column. This time around, we are choosing what? Fixed width. So click on fixed width, and we are going to be using our hands to form a preview. So once you click on fixed width now, you see that is just there. So when you click on next, you now have to choose how to make that happen. So this screen lets you set the fields, and the arrow will help you to notice the breaks. Now it says to create a break line, click at the desired position, delete, click on the line, and all the rest of them. So let's just click on the position we want to do, right? We want to click on the position between 1960. So we click on this position. There's a tiny line, like a calibration in rulers and other calibrating tools that is here. So we click on these tiny lines that are calibrations, and we see that is the one that is between 19 and 60. So click on that small tiny one. Fine. Are you seeing there? It's open for you to see. Now, this is what we want to split, 19 from 60. But if you don't want it, I want to get another one, just double click and it is out. Then you come by here and say, okay, you want to split 19.6 from 0. So it is still your choice. If you want to let it go, double click and it's out. So you want to focus on just 19 and 60, which is in between these values, and then we click on next. Now we're leaving that as general, but then we need to choose destination. So destination should be column H, not column G. I'm going to delete everything column G from here and choose column H, which is this. So this is our destination. Then we are good. So it has selected columns H2 to H23 as its destination. Next, it has shown us that look at what is going to happen here. It's going to separate 19 from 60 and click on finish. So it says that data already exists. Do you want to replace it? You say yes. But that's not what we are looking at, right? Let us see what happened here. Let's come back again. Text to column, fixed width, next. Then we create it here. Next. Then destination should be just column H. That should be a destination. And click finish. Aha, fine. So you've gotten what you want, right? Let's still go back again. So we want to get just the last two values. So this is different from you using your usual left and right function to get the last two values or last three values. This is different, right? So click on text to column once again. Choose fixed width. Next, choose the space between the values you want to separate. That is 19 and 60. So just click on the middle. We have an arrow that shows that this is what is going to separate from this. Then click on next, and then choose our destination. Destination should be just a singular cell of choice. Unlike the delimiter, we highlighted the entire cell as destination. What fixed width needs is just one cell, right? So when you click on one cell, the rest will just happen. Then you notice here that as usual in the delimiter, we will have this kind of view that tells us how it has separated the full name, the first name from the last name. So the same thing happens here in the fixed width. So we click on finish. So it says replace it, says yes. So I wonder why this is happening this way. Let's say come back again and do it again. Fixed width, next. I'm choosing here, next. Destination is not G, but H. Then finish. The same thing is happening. So I wonder why this is things. But it wasn't that this the second time I tried this guy. Let's see what is the issue with it. Right, so we still have this issue coming up and up, but we are likely going to work it out. So I believe what it's trying to do here is trying to separate 19 and 60, irrespective of having this, just like we did here before. So here we had two columns that separated the last name from the first name. So the same thing should occur in this as well, where when we are trying to use fixed width, it will have to carry 19 to H and carry 60 to I. That is what it means. So we forgot that from the steps you're taking. But however, irrespective of the fact that we want to have a single column, we still can do it. So let's see what we can do about this. Let's delete this cell. So our destination should be, so let me still highlight the cells again. Notice what I'm going to do now. I think I've figured out what is the issue. So delimiter, fixed width, sorry. Next, we choose our preview. Next, then our destination should be within the same range of use, right? So my destination will no longer be only G2. I will say my destination will be G and H. So let me delete everything containing G2 and focus on G and H as my destination, so that when it tries to split it as it's supposed to be, by 19 one side, 60 one side, I will have 19 in column G and 60 in column H. So I click on finish. Fine, are you seeing it now? This is what we want to achieve. So 19 is separately on its own, and the other value is separately on its own. Now, this is how you can actually separate values who are not delimited. And we say delimited means when there's a character that separates a value from the other. That's when we say that a value has delimiter. But this does not have delimiter initially, but now because of using fixed width, they've achieved this fit. So this is you happening to work with Advanced Excel Part 1. We are going to touch Part 2 because we are going to analyze data. So far, we have exhausted everything we have in this particular data set. We have seen how we can use data validation to protect our cells. We have seen how we can use the protect sheet and protect workbook features in Excel to protect the workbook and the sheet in our data set. We've also seen how we can work with text to column in order to achieve the splitting of data values into two or more equivalent columns. So this shows that we are progressing very well in our data analysis process. And it also shows that we are really doing good in whatever we have at our disposal. So far, so good. We are migrating and moving at speed, showing how wonderful the process has been so far. So please, when we come back tomorrow, we're going to venture into data prepping and visualization. That is the second part of Advanced Excel, data prepping and visualization. So Advanced Excel Part 1 involves data prepping and visualization, where we are going to prepare data, process that data, and visualize it, right? So it's a stage-by-stage process. The part of Advanced Excel Part 1 is embedded to this, because you cannot do data prepping and visualization without mastering that Advanced Excel Part 1. We just did the A part of the Part 1. The B part now is also using pivot table in our analysis. All right. So in our class tomorrow, we are going to see how we can utilize all we've learned with functions and formulas, all we've learned with other necessary tools we use in spreadsheets to clean and analyze data. We're going to see how all those things plays out in our data sets. We're going to use one of the data sets we have at our disposal to make that happen. So these processes is very important for you to notify them. And at the end of it, we are going to report our data and see how we can use AI in making our data analysis a wonderful process. Advanced Excel Part 2 includes data modeling in Power Query, data modeling in Power Pivot and Power Query Editor. So Power Query Editor and Power Pivot are the two Advanced Excel Part 2 that you will learn when you keep on practicing your Excel for data analysis. It also includes you using macros and VBA for data automation and workflow processes in Excel. So these are the things that you need to know about Part 2 of Advanced Excel, which will not be in this particular beginner series, but it will be from the intermediate series for you to learn how to use Power Query Editor, how to use Power Pivot, and how to use macros and VBA in order to become very good at Excel for data analysis. Remember not to forget to practice. Do not forget to practice. We have treated a lot of things in Excel that is very, 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 very important. All the things we've taught is a serial process of learning data analysis. We don't want you to become someone who just jump into data analysis for jumping its sake. No, we want you to become grounded on the pathway in order to become a very good data analyst. So from me to you, keep up the good work. And I want to thank you, Francis, for always attending to your assignment. I've seen your submission. And at the end of this cohort, you are going to prepare leaderboards for everyone to see how they have performed since these weeks we have been learning. Next week is the 6th week of our class, and it is the end of it. So please always be active. This is day 14 of 16, and we just barely have how many days left. Tomorrow is day 15, and before you know it, we have wrapped up our sections. So thank you very much, and do have a wonderful night's rest.